Let's talk about your book, sir, called Greenlights. And, I have read a handful of books written by people whose film work and television work and on-screen work I have enjoyed. And you're wondering, did they really write it? With you, Matthew, literally 3 sentences in, I'm like, okay, he wrote this. It's your voice from cover to cover. No doubt about it.
No ghostwriter. This was just me. I had a ghostwriter on about 3 years ago. I got the courage to say, "Hey, let's go grab my 36 years of diaries and journals and see if it's worth making into a book." But I didn't have the courage to do it on my own. So I got a ghostwriter. We met one time, and that was going well. And after that one-time meeting, his boss said you are no longer allowed to do for the company he worked with, the New York Times. You can't do any celebrity memoirs. So he was off the project. So I'm like, okay, I'll find another ghostwriter. And as soon as I said I'll find another ghostwriter out loud to my wife kind of nodded, leaned her head, and looked at me like, really? And I went, I know what you're saying. You're right. I got to write this. It's me. So I took off and went to the desert. And 52 days later, I came out with what's basically in this book. And then for the last year and a half, been editing. And now I declare. And it's what you got in your hands.
No doubt about that. I was going to ask you about the process, because writing is, for me, easily the most difficult thing I have to do, but it's the most rewarding. There's no doubt about that. So you tapped out for 52 days and sat in front of a computer and banged this thing out, essentially?
Well, the first 12 days were in the desert, no electricity, just my journal. So it's just me and me, no electricity, no cell service, no email, no nothing. Because the idea was, okay, you're going to get bored, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to want to make a phone call, you're going to want to answer emails. No, I wanted no outside frequencies coming in. So I said, just be stuck with yourself in the last 36 years of your writing. And what I came out of that with was 7 stacks of really the themes to the book. And it was stories, people, places, prescribes, poems, prayers, and a whole lot of bumper stickers. And then I came home with that. And then out of that, the next time I left, that I found the theme Greenlights, which runs through all of those things, which is basically, hey, I've looked at my life. I've made some decisions that have created green lights for me in the future. I've made some decisions that have created red and yellow lights for me in the future. Obviously, we like the green ones better. But I found a little bit of science to satisfaction in it, habits that I had when I was catching green lights, when I was on my frequency, habits I had when I was catching yellow lights and red lights, and how to get back on the frequency of catching green lights.
And in terms of red and yellow lights, what were those that you encountered? I know it's in your book.
Well, look, a literal one. Here's one that everyone can understand. Death of my father. Big red light. No doubt about it. And I don't think anyone would argue that when they lose someone like that in their life, it's a major red light. But what I found through the book was I wouldn't be the man I am today unless my father had passed away, meaning there were values that he pushed on me, all right, that he taught me. And yes, I understood them intellectually, but I was kind of half-assing them. Why? Because I knew he was alive. He had my back. If I fell down, he would pick me up. Well, as soon as he moved on, I quickly realized, I don't have that safety net anymore. All the things you've been trying to be and that your dad's been teaching you to be, it's time to man up and put those damn things into action. So I became a young man. I grew up into a man much, much sooner, which was a good thing because of his passing. So that would be a green light asset from the big red light of his moving on.
Well, you also tell a story about, you figuring out that you weren't cut out for being a lawyer or didn't want to do it as badly as you wanted to do, obviously, what you do for a living now. And your dad's response was, in fact, something you just said seconds ago, right? What did he say to you?
This was, everyone will have these moments, they can go back. And my dad couldn't have said 3 better words to me. I decided one day after into my sophomore year in college, I do not want to go to law school, which is the only thing I was ever expected to do or expected of myself. And I want to call my dad, who's paying for my school, and tell him I want to go to film school. Well, I think this is not going to go well because I grew up in a blue-collar family. You work your way up. What the hell's film school, boy? That's a hobby, maybe, but that's not a real job, I thought he was going to say. So I call him one night. And I pick out the time, 7:36 p.m. He'll be home from work. He'll have had dinner. He's having a beer with Mom. They're laughing. That'll be a great time to get him, right? Mm-hmm. I call him up. Pop, I don't want to go to law school. I want to go to film school. On the other end of the line, he goes, are you sure that's what you want to do? I said, yes, sir. There was a 5-second pause, and then he said these 3 words: "Don't half-ass it." And he set me a launch with that. I mean, so not only did he give me approval and say it's okay, he gave me a kick in the backside and said, "If you're going to do it, you better do it damn well." It was just what I needed to hear.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.